Okay, can we see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the main schedule screen of the application. So what we see here are all the jobs that are currently active. And because I haven't done anything since setting these jobs off this morning, they're starting to look overdue now. So we've got this red line to show us what the current time is. And 10 minutes ahead of that, it's showing all the overdue jobs and they're flashing. And we're getting some clashes there in the schedule where these jobs are now overrunning. They're running in parallel with these other jobs that are also going to run late.
Yep.
We have this grey hatched area as well, because what you can do is set downtime for all of your resources as well. So that's going to be lunchtime here, and then obviously towards the end of the day, they close for the night. But if you've got resources that run 24 hours a day, then you can set different schedules for different resources. So they don't all have to follow that one pattern. Okay, so this gives you an overview of what's happening in this particular site. We've got the resources down the left-hand side, categorized. So we've got some turning resources. We've got grinding machines down here.
Yep.
We've got some heat treatment, blacking, rumbling going on as well. Okay, so there's quite a lot going on there.
Yeah.
And you submit jobs to the system. Those can either be entered manually, but we'll just flip across and have a look at the jobs now, and then we'll come back to this schedule. So I'll go to the jobs. In this particular case, what we've done is we've taken the jobs from an SAP Business One system, and we can see they've got a lot of jobs scheduled at the moment. So I'm going to scroll down here. I think there's about 140 odd jobs they've got active at the minute. And if we go and look at the details of one of those jobs, I'll just take the first one here. I'm going to wait. Okay. Go to the summary of that job. We can see it's made up of several tasks. So we've got some milling going on, then has some coating works done at a subcontractor, etching, inspection, and finally into stores. And for each of those, we've got a quantity, how long it's going to take, and then the scheduling system works out what time each of these tasks should happen. So it uses an algorithm to work out priorities based on when the job is due, whether there are already active tasks within that job, and what else is using those resources at the moment. So if we now go back to the schedule, each different coloured bar in the schedule represents a different job. And we're looking just at a snapshot of here and this afternoon. If I move to a 10-day view, and you'd normally view this on a much bigger screen as well. So I run a 27-inch screen, and you can see the whole week at a time. So this is now looking at a 10-day view, so we can see a few days at a time in there. Just close this down a little bit so we can scroll across. Okay. So yeah, you can see how it's organized the jobs and they're scattered across that schedule. But everything's happening in the most efficient order that it can. So as a planner, that's your job done to actually get the work in there and schedule those jobs. On the shop floor, you would go to the resource that you're responsible for. So this first page I'm going to show is, again, more from a planner's point of view. We're looking at all of the resources. If we look at what the first resource here, turning machine, citizen, okay, we can see the list of jobs. And this will also work. I'm going to shrink this down now to show you that it will work on a mobile device as well. So on a tablet or a phone, it's all mobile friendly. But we'll go back to the full view. And as an operator, all you need to do is click start to start the job, choose the time and date that it starts, and off you go. That's it running. And whoever's then overseeing all of the processes can see the fact that that job is active at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, there it is active there. So we'll go back as if we're the operator of that resource. Now, what may happen is there's a problem with the task. You might have run out of materials. So rather than just finish the job, which is what would normally happen, I can stop that task and say, right, okay, we've got a stoppage. You define what codes are in there, or whoever's managing the system. So we've got a mapped code for materials out of stock, for instance. Okay, and at that point, that task is stopped, and you can start doing other jobs on there if you need to.
Yep, set machine up and press start on the next job.
That's right. So you can have a stoppage from a job point of view. You can also have a stoppage from a machine point of view. And if I go back to all of the resources, you can see the stoppages highlighted. So we can see at a glance that this citizen, there is a stoppage on a task there. For this citizen, the actual machine itself is stopped. And if I hover my mouse over there, it tells me that the main motor brushes are worn, the machine's inoperative. Whoever's responsible for that resource, they can go to it. Once it's up and running again, they can click resume, add any more notes to that particular problem, and resume the resource, and we're up and running again on that particular resource.
Right.
Okay. And the scheduling takes account of all of that. So as soon as there is a stoppage either with a task or with a job, it will shuffle all the other jobs that impacts down across the schedule. But it means that you can reasonably accurately predict your due dates for all of the stuff that you've scheduled. And you can produce reports from here. I haven't got any actually set up on this version, but you can produce reports to show the status of all of those jobs. And it can be ordered by those that are most urgent to those that have got a bit of buffer in there for when you're running them. So it gives you a whole overview of what's running. We also have, we've been working on other aspects to the system. So an SQCD board. Are you familiar with those, Neil?
No.
Okay, I'll let Adam describe this for you.
Yeah, this is the safety, quality, cost, delivery people. It's one of the boards that I use on the shop floor a hell of a lot. So if you pick the safety side, the S at the top, is, you can see it's got the numbers in, and we've got the green and the red and the amber at the minute. That they depict the days of the month. So if we've had no issues with safety, it's a green. So we've had no injuries, no near misses or anything like that. It's a green. On the 12th, you can see we've got a red. That means that something happened on there on the 12th. And this system, you can click onto it. So you can have a live board, click onto that, and enter into the detail of what actually happened, and also any actions that are undertaken. And you can review that on the board. So, and that goes for quality, cost, delivery, and also the people side of it. So is there anything you wanted to add to that, Peter?
No, I think you've pretty much described it there. This is just an example of a layout, and it's a work in progress at the moment. But you would use it for huddle meetings in the morning, where in a section you'd gather around the board and discuss any issues that have arisen in the past month. You would maybe combine that with the resources view as well, to have a quick review of what jobs are coming up today.
Yeah, what you're doing today, what's
priorities are. Yeah.
And this dashboard can be tailored to what. So underneath the S, you could have a high level measure KPI. Then below that, the KPI measure for the actual S, and then also then the action data and issue data, problem resolution data underneath that as well. So and then with the quality, that can tie in automatically with the stuff that's being recorded in Schedule Plus itself. So when an operator finishes a job, it will prompt them to list how many were actually produced against how many were planned to be produced, and how much scrap there was. So that can feed it, and you also know whether the job was overrunning when it finished early and so on. So all those can feed into your metrics for OEE and for the quality side of things. And this is just an example of how we can lay out some of the data, but this can be tailored on a company by company basis to fit the kind of analysis that they do. If I go back to the resources page, what we can do, all the resources are divided into sections. So if I wanted to see everything to do with the turning section, there is an extra button here. And this is geared up towards, you might have big screens up within a work area. So that shows you in one view what's happening across all of your sections. So you can see what jobs are coming up, what time they're due, whether there are any stoppages going on, and how heavily loaded a resource is. So where you've got this short, well, like this, there's a lot of work due to come in there. Whereas the design links, that's literally all you've got in those jobs.
So I'm already thinking that the company I'm going to could probably do with this.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know what scheduling they do. There's one of the owner's daughter, I think, does the manufacturing planning and scheduling. I don't know what they use, but yeah, I can think you can stick the sliders on that, then you got all your other turning things. And there's the welding things and the other bits and pieces. I'm already thinking, I wonder if they could do with this.
Yeah. There's the one which Peter hasn't gone on to yet, this is the new bit, which I'm quite sad, I know, excited about, is documents and things like that.
Oh,
because
yes.
we always get an issue with document control. Whereas here now, what Peter's done with this is you can have a central depository.
Yeah.
You can actually use link for. So quality control could own all of or control the documents and the control of documents that's linked, which I'll let Peter go through.
Yeah.
And that can be updated, but through quality, and it'll just keep it updated within the system. So it's just one thing. So you ain't got paperwork or anything like that going about. And I really do like this side of it.
Yeah. So within each element in the system, so if I go to this asset, we'll see that there is a ability to view documents associated with that asset. So if I click on there, okay, and you can have as many documents as you like associated with that. So there's a risk assessment. Click on that, and there we have the risk assessment associated with it. We've got some advice from the H&SE. So you can either have documents as static documents that you upload to the system, like this one, or they can be URLs, they can be web links. So depending on how those are configured, it can mean that it's always linking to the latest piece of information. If it's a website.
That's the big thing with document control, isn't it? Have you got the latest?
The latest one, absolutely.
That was one of the things with my role as the proposals manager, was that half the things that they were doing weren't the latest documents, weren't the latest revisions, weren't the latest company headed papers and all this sort of stuff.
Well, with this, you've got it all in the one place, so you only need to update it in the one place, and then it gets updated everywhere else. So we've got some another PDF here. Now, unfortunately, Adam, I'm going to let you down here because I have moved all these jobs around and so on, and I can't remember which jobs I've associated some of these documents with. But you can also associate documents with a job. So if I go into this particular job here, and sadly this isn't one with a document, but we can have things like the drawings that are associated with that particular task of the job.
Right.
With the whole of the job, we can also have documents. So sorry, these are documents that are associated with each task. So with each operation within that job.
You can have all your drawings in the documents and
the operator of that job as well. So if I go to a particular resource and I look at it from an operator's point of view, they also would see here, it would have a little docs button if there was a document to go with that job. So they can see all the things to do with the actual resource itself, and then everything on a job by job level to do with that job. So if you've got drawings that are coming through. And we deal with a print company. What they do is they associate the actual print files there, and because they're using a PC that controls the printer, they can actually, the work itself comes down here. Now I'm not sure how certain CNC machines work, but it is conceivable that you can have CNC programs as well stored against particular tasks and have those downloaded to machines.
Especially
depends on how they interface.
Everything's networked and it's a standard job, and you've got that program. You can call the programming. I know when I was at Howden's, I would program a job up, and that job, the program that I'd done, saved in the thing, and then I used to save that in the actual job sort of file itself. So if it's a DIM 100, it would get saved in the DIM 100. So not only was it on the system, but then we hadn't networked them together, but it was then actually in there, so you could then call it up, and you also had the remote software, so like I said, the computer and program it from there as well. Right. Offline.
Excellent. Well, you could store those files within each individual task. Going back to the job itself, what you can then do is you can have things like the purchase order, the invoice, any requisition orders for other materials, whatever that are associated with that job in there, or any other notes that you might want to have that are to do with it on the global job level rather than individual tasks. So yes, everywhere in the system you can associate documents with those elements.
Good.
So I think I've probably covered everything there then, Adam.
Yeah.
For the time being, we're bringing stuff on with this all the time, and I've not gone into detail around the scheduling side of things, but there is it's very sophisticated, the algorithms that are working in there, and we're enhancing those at the moment to work with things like jobs that go off site, or resources that can handle multiple tasks simultaneously, so things like your heat treatment, blacking and so on. So at the moment everything happens sequentially, but we're adapting this so that certain resources process jobs sequentially, others can do it concurrently, others it can cope with the fact that something has gone off site and it won't schedule any more work for that job until it knows it's coming back.
I was going to say, obviously on some things, if you've got a big job on and they've got to be coated, you'll do a batch of 100, then send them off to be coating. Can that
so you can split it
account
out
that?
into,
Well, so you've got 500 to do. You've got 100 have come back from the platers, ready for the next process, and then there's another 100 to do, and you've got three more hundreds, batches of 100 yet to do to go out there. It'll
it'll cope with that.
Okay.
So yes,